like a Zen master right there. All of us just kind of take a deep breath and be here now, as Ram Dass said. Just be here now and enjoy this moment and be here with alertness. Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. You've reached Zero Limits Living. Every week, I bring you inspiration and information to transform your life, to uplift what you're doing. This week will be a juicy one for you, and I'll tell you about it in just a minute. This show has become so popular, you can now see it or hear it on 1,000 platforms across the world. Everything from Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, YouTube, Spotify, and probably anything you can name or anything you're on right now. To make this easy for you, I'm putting all the shows in one place. They're at ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com, and you can go there and sign up to be notified of every new episode, ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com. People ask about my coaching program. Simply go to miraclescoaching.com. It's a program I started 20-some years ago. It's trademarked. It's a system that works. Find out, no charge, no obligation, miraclescoaching.com. My latest program has been taking people to the past to correct what went wrong there, so they're empowered in this moment to create a future that they are loving. And that program is called mentaltimetravelsystem.com, mentaltimetravelsystem.com. I'm an author. My latest book, Unexpected Kindness. It's at Amazon, or go to unexpectedkindnessbook.com and check it out. Now, my guest, let me tell you about her. Kung Fu Kendra, who is Kendra Mahon, is a black belt Kung Fu professional and expert fitness trainer. She has been named Canada's top fitness trainer in the Best Calgary. Kendra has been involved in fitness training and practicing martial arts for over 17 years. Her clients range from celebrities such as Brett Wilson from the TV show Dragon's Den, top-level executives, tech entrepreneurs, and everyday people. Kung Fu Kendra is a third lineage in Wing Chun Kung Fu. Her Sifu, Brian Luadi, was taught by William Cheung, who trained with Bruce Lee. She's got a free, we're going to have to talk about this here, Kung Fu Kendra, a free subliminal abs workout video. Subliminal abs workout. Sounds like you don't actually need to work out. And it's at kungfukendra.com/Joe. kungfukendra.com/Joe. Kendra, how are you?
I'm good, Dr. Joe. Thank you.
What have you been up to today?
Today I went for a beautiful run here in Sedona, Arizona this morning.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
And ate a bowl of blueberries for breakfast and looking forward to talking with you.
Well, you're going to have to explain to us where you get your motivation and drive, because there's a whole lot of us who didn't get up and go for a run, whether we were in Sedona or Pittsburgh, and they ate donuts for breakfast, not some healthy meal that you chose to do. Have you always been an athlete? Have you always been healthy oriented?
I have. Since childhood, I played pretty much every sport you could imagine: hockey, soccer, baseball, softball, volleyball. And so I've always been athletic. And in my early 20s, I discovered food and the benefits of food.
Oh.
So I realized that it was important to fill my body with as many nutrients and vitamins and all that stuff as much as possible to feel good. So that's why I do it.
Wow. Well, the average person discovers food too, but not for nutritional value.
Yeah.
For comfort, for gluttony, for, whatever you want to call those other words. So you sound pretty unique to me. Well, you're being called Kung Fu Kendra. When did you get involved with martial arts? We know that you were an athlete growing up. You did a lot of different things as you were growing up. How did you get involved with martial arts and Kung Fu in particular?
Well, about 20 years ago, I was on a self-development journey, a personal journey that I felt like I had plateaued. I didn't really know how to take my my sense of feeling good and purpose to the next level. I discovered Kung Fu through looking for martial arts schools around the city, something to better fill my time versus drinking, partying, things that weren't making me feel good, eating at McDonald's every day. I felt a sense of emptiness, and learning martial arts and entering the martial arts world was not to learn how to fight. And it wasn't because of Bruce Lee or cool moves. I didn't want to know any of that. I just wanted to learn myself. So that's how I started my journey.
No, that's remarkable. Also, I've just discovered that you're human after all, because you were into healthy food growing up. You were doing all the athletics growing up. But at some point, it sounds like you discovered McDonald's and fast food and alternative ways of living and experimenting with life. So was there anything in particular that happened that caused you to kind of go on a detour? Or if not that, was there something that happened that put you back on the road to wellness and health and your athletics?
Well, I believe that I was on the journey of I didn't know myself. So I was seeking answers. I was seeking, like I said, fulfillment through things that people do, drink and, stay up too late and not, I wasn't in the best shape either. So I just wanted something that was going to be a positive commitment in my life, something to look forward to at 4:30 after work. Excuse me, instead of going to reach for that nice cold drink or go out with my friends and hang out. I needed something that was going to help me get into better shape. And sure enough, the more I started to take that time for myself, to allow myself to find myself, things just got better from there. Life seemed brighter. I was making healthier decisions with eating. I was starting to get into great shape. Friends of mine started to notice a difference, even letting me know, you've made a big improvement. So.
Wow. And all of this came from you enrolling in a Kung Fu class?
It really did. It really did. I owe my journey to where I am now from the practice of martial arts, which, you don't need to do martial arts to have the skills of martial arts, to have focus, to have dedication, to have control. Ultimately, the martial arts was just a metaphor for those three things, which we all need in everyday life.
Were you old enough to see the Kung Fu series when David Carradine starred in it? Or did you see the reruns at any point?
Like I said, unfortunately, I wasn't too into the movies and the moves. Okay. However, I was fortunate enough to learn from the direct lineage of Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Which I still sometimes can't believe. But yeah.
That's very impressive. Well, for a lot of people, myself included, we learned about Kung Fu and martial arts from Bruce Lee and from David Carradine, but that's from the 70s and so forth, which is before your time. Most currently, Cobra Kai on Netflix is what got people enrolling in different kinds of martial arts class. Did you ever watch any of Cobra Kai or
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was a huge fan of Karate Kid back in the day. So when they created Cobra Kai with that theme, I was pleasantly surprised. I watched the first season and part of the second season, and it's on my list to marathon through it when I get when I get a free Saturday or something like that.
Oh, well, I know the feeling because we ended up binging on all of it. And when they took, half a year to create another season, we watched the season in a day.
Oh, yeah.
They take 6 months to create it. We take one day to watch it. And then we're like, make more.
Yeah.
So I was just, so you were in alignment with it because that show, it has the mix of philosophy as well as, there's fighting and so forth in it. And you were drawn to Kung Fu more because of the lifestyle, it sounds like, than just any particular moves or combat techniques or self-defense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a byproduct of learning myself and others and all of that is I've learned to protect myself, self-defense. I mean, repetitive actions, repetitive thoughts get ingrained into you. So, I'm very thankful for all aspects that Kung Fu has taught me.
Well, could you teach us something from that? So in other words, when you look back over your life, and you've been doing this for quite a while, and I know you coach people and train people, and we can get into that in a little bit, but what would be a lesson for us right now? We have people all over the world that will be watching or listening to you. Is there something that was a real takeaway for you? You're going to your Kung Fu classes and there's this aha moment. And maybe it's an insight, maybe it's a technique, maybe it's a story. What comes to mind that would be useful to all of us right now?
Well, what I think is slowing life down and breaking it down, not into a series of moves to get to your goal, but to break everything down to the moment right now. What you're doing here and now is the most important. If you start thinking too far ahead or anticipating or thinking in terms of fear, it will work against you. So you want to work through things in the moment. And that's what my greatest takeaway from Kung Fu would have been, was to just slow down and to be in the here, to be in the now, to focus your control on what's happening right here in this moment.
That's actually remarkable. You sound like a Zen master right there, urging all of us just to kind of take a deep breath and be here now, as Ram Dass said, just be here now and enjoy this moment and be here with alertness. As you were learning Kung Fu, did you start striving at some point? I mean, you entered it because this looked like a way to help you with your lifestyle, and obviously it did, and you started to get more insightful moments out of it. But did you get caught up in the white belt, yellow belt, green belt kind of, goal-seeking process that's known for most of, I don't know if it's in all martial arts, but most of the martial arts?
Surprisingly, no. And it could have been the way our school was structured and the way Kung Fu was structured, where all of the students train together, whether you're 4 years old and you're just level 1. Some 4-year-olds would have been level 5 at some point as well, to older people who were just starting out. So the classes were intermingled. For me, there was never a desire to do it for competition. Like I said, it was a self-development journey, a spiritual journey. And in fact, when it came time for testing to get to the next level, to get the next stripe on my belt, I was a little bit terrified. I wasn't, so I had to face that fear. Here I am in front of my Sifu, which is in Kung Fu the master. I'm going to have 5 people, coming at me with attacks, and I need to be in the here and the now, put the fear aside, put the ego aside, and fight through. And so for me, the leveling up, it wasn't a form of excitement for me. It was more Like I said, I walked into the school just wanting to get into better shape and, try something different with my life. Wow. For me, it was intimidating. However, it did teach me to face my fears, to face those opponents and those challenges, to face those imaginary monsters I've created in my mind that I'm not good enough. And so ultimately, the Kung Fu helped me to get stronger in a way. So at this rate, I was, not taking in the ego aspect of it of I want to get to level 10. I want that gold belt. It was a journey of facing myself at each of those level gradings.
From what I understand from the purity of the historic origins of the martial arts, what you just explained is exactly what martial arts was created for. It was the overcoming of your own limitations rather than overcoming opponents. So I'm impressed with you and what you just said here. You talked about overcoming fear, and so I always have an eye and ear towards how we can help the people watching or listening to this show. So what is a way for people to begin to overcome fear in their own lives? Hopefully they're not going to be attacked by 5 people like you in one of your tournaments there and contests. But what about the everyday challenges? You had made the statement, even facing the fear or the statement of, I'm not good enough. How do you get around that? How do we begin to dissolve fear for any of us, whether we're in Kung Fu or not? We're living our lives and we have fear show up. What do we do? What is your suggestion?
My suggestion is face your fear. Whatever that is, if it's picking up the phone, making that phone call that could change your life, do it. If it's that thing that's been on your mind, like, I need to do this, I keep putting it off, just do it. When you confront your fear, you will break through. You are pushing your way through to the next level of your being, because suddenly that will no longer be a fear because you've broken through it. So as hard as it can be at times, you need to face whatever you're afraid of right in the eye and break through, which means face it at whatever cost that may result in.
That's a beautiful answer. So I'm going to push just a little bit because I'm imagining there's some people going, but I can't do it. I just feel like I can't do it. The fear is too big. The project is too intimidating, or the boss or the person or the client, or whatever. How do they nudge? How do they get the inner strength to push past that fear that just seems like, it's easier just to say, no, I'm not going to make the phone call. No, I'm not going to send the proposal. No, I'm not going to face my fears. Screw that. They're going to play it comfortable. How do they get that inner strength?
Well, you don't want to put too much pressure on yourself. Obviously, if it's a big decision or there's something going on that could be detrimental and you're just taking your time to make that decision, my suggestion is, and it's so simple, but breathing. Take some time to breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. This will allow you to reset your energy, your spirit, your mind, your emotions, and you will have a better grasp at dealing with whatever situation you have. For me, it works every single time. I lay down, I'll close my eyes, I'll sometimes put my hands on my chest, and I'll breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. And as simple as it sounds, it is a way to neutralize your fears, your anxieties. It puts your ego aside. You become in the moment within yourself and allow the universe to guide you.
That is expert advice. I love it. I know from my own reading and my own experience that breathing is one of the magic tricks we all have available to us to transmute the stuck energies, the fearful energies, the whatever the ones that could be considered to be negative. And we can do it with simple breathing. So thank you for explaining that. When you're going through your Kung Fu training, and I love your discipline, I love why you're doing it, I love your purity of your motivation, but were there some real challenges where you thought, I'm going to give up? I'm not going to keep going. In fact, did you even quit at some point or consider quitting? I'm not going to continue this journey. It's too hard. It's too fill in the blank.
Absolutely. There were times where work became very overwhelming. And so I was not able to get to class. I wasn't able to train consistently. That would have been a time where, I could have easily given up and just said, you know what, I quit. But the thing about Kung Fu and martial arts for me is that it's not only at the Kwoon. And the Kwoon is what we call a Chinese training facility, much like the dojo. So I realized, and it occurred to me, that I don't need to be in the Kwoon to practice these skills. In fact, these skills became life skills, dealing with unexpected things in life, moving through them. The concept of be like water from Bruce Lee, learning to be okay with the fact that I can't make it to class, but I'm not going to let that bum me out and break me down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do breathing exercises at my office. I'm going to, do a set of 20 push-ups and jump up and do, 20 front kicks on each leg. So for me, there was no reason why I had to be at the Kung Fu school to do the Kung Fu. As I got higher up in the leveling, it did get more difficult. And I started teaching and instructing at the Canadian Wing Chun Kung Fu Academy. So that added another layer of a little bit of pressure, a little bit of, my next grading is coming up. But I just took every day as it came. I wasn't too hard on myself if I couldn't make it to class. And I just did what I could. And through breathing techniques and learning to just be in the here, be in the now, move like water. If I don't make it to class today, then that's fine. I'll move around that rock and maybe I'll make it there on Wednesday. But honestly, it was a struggle, but I got through it with those techniques.
That is a brilliant answer and explanation. So what I'm curious about is where that came from. Did those insights and that ability to be like water come from the Kung Fu classes themselves? Or did you have that insight before you ever even enrolled into Kung Fu? You obviously were involved in a lot of other athletics and different disciplines long before you get to Kung Fu. So I'm just curious, where did that attitude of going with the flow, not being hard on yourself, letting go, and of course, be like water, where did all that come from? Is that from Kung Fu itself?
That 90% of that came from Kung Fu.
Oh, nice.
Prior to starting Kung Fu, I had my enlightenment, so to speak. I, read some very moving books that really resonated with me. And I started to understand the concept of the food, helping, the energy levels. And I stumbled upon the concept of mind over matter and the power of the mind. So I think combined with those things I had learned prior to starting Kung Fu, and then learning the Kung Fu skills themselves, which teaches you to go with the flow, to dissolve the motions that are coming towards you, and to use the energy of whatever the situation is for your benefit. So it was a combination of the Kung Fu plus like an enlightenment I had just before I started Kung Fu.
All right. Kung Fu Kendra, you have to tell me about the enlightenment you had. I almost jumped out of my seat when you said that, but I thought, let me just wait and let her finish.
Okay.
So what took place? You said you were reading some books. Look behind me. I'm a book freak. So
Okay.
I need to know what a book or the books were. What was this nature of an enlightenment before you even enrolled in Kung Fu? This is fascinating.
Okay, great. The one book that stands out that actually changed the way I saw the world was the Celestine Prophecy.
Oh, yeah.
During the reading of that book, I was practicing some of the techniques that were described in the book, zoning out your eyes a little bit and looking at the trees. And then suddenly I could see the aura of the trees. Then I became aware of that everything's connected by this energy, and then I'd look this way and the energy would move that way. And I thought, wow, like I have something to do with this too.
Wow.
So that was the book, and that was the enlightenment of mind over matter. And then the other enlightenment I had was I watched a movie called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
I've not seen that. I've heard of it. Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
Yeah, and not that I was fat or sick or nearly dead, but I learned from that documentary the power of nutrient-dense food. So I combined started juicing a lot and drinking as many fruit and vegetable juices as I could, and practicing the mind over matter exercises. And I found that those two combinations actually worked magic, however you want to describe those little miracles or the manifestation, or was it a manifestation, or did I see into the future, or is it just coincidence? What is this? And then the Kung Fu happened. So
this is absolutely fascinating. The Celestine Prophecy seemed to have come out of nowhere. I remember I was in Houston at the time, and there was this Aquarian Age bookstore, I think was the name of it. It was a new age bookstore. And the owner said they have never seen a book fly off the shelf and become a global bestseller so quickly and so easily as it did the Celestine Prophecy. So that was a book that really hit a lot of people. I don't know that they all got awakenings or enlightenment experiences like you described, but I certainly remember the book and the historic moment that it did for a lot of people out there. So can you give me an example? One of the things I wanted to ask you, which was, how does the martial arts concepts align with manifestation? So you were just hinting at there's little miracles going on. You've learned about the density of foods. You are eating differently. You're doing the athletics. You're in Kung Fu. But let's move into the world of manifestation here. You saw the movie The Secret, right?
Believing Before Seeing, a new book by Candace Barr, teaching you how to believe into existence. Available now for pre-order.
Absolutely. That was one of my first movies that also enlightened me to the power of the mind.
Yeah. So you saw the movie The Secret. You're obviously a fan of manifestation, law of attraction, the philosophy and principles and purity of Kung Fu, and you're kind of putting it all together in a unique way from what I'm seeing. So what is your take on the martial arts concepts? How do they align with manifestation?
Well, one concept that comes to mind that we had already briefly touched on was the concept of be like water.
Yes.
So I believe that relates directly to manifestation, because when we allow ourselves to move and flow throughout life by removing our ego and just moving intuitively like water, when water has a rock, it'll move around it. If it has nowhere to go, it'll find a way through over time. Water finds its way. Water creates its way. Water is the ultimate representation of transformation. The concept, be like water, to remove your ego, to allow yourself to be in the flow, in the Tao, some would say. That flow, I believe, is the ultimate catalyst for manifestation. Other things are involved with that as well, like little sparks of other things, like little sprinkles of feeling good, eating well, feeling good, feeling happy, and bringing your vibration to a higher level. And I found that through Kung Fu as well, through the intense training and exercise and releasing power, basically.
And I know that there's visualizations in martial arts. Just to give you 1 second of a background, I studied karate when it became a hit with David Carradine's Kung Fu show. So I'm like 15 years old in 1960s, early 1970s. I studied judo for a little while. I loved Aikido, but I was more of a macho street fighter than a slow-moving dancer that Aikido would want. I studied Qigong for a long time and loved it, really loved it. I loved the internal martial arts approach. In almost all of these, as I remember, visualization was being used. And so I'm imagining with your training, visualization was being used in Kung Fu. And I'm wondering how visualization exercises from your martial arts training can be applied to manifesting something.
That's a great question. And in martial arts training, we visualize our opponent. We visualize our attack. And by visualizing the fighting scenario, we're able to kind of go through it in your mind, right? You're able to pre-condition yourself for the situation. So this can apply to every aspect of anyone's life, really. If you have, let's say, a project coming up with work, you can just sit in a chair or lie in bed, close your eyes, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, and visualize how that's going to get done, piece by piece. You don't need to go into too much detail, but you want to see it through to the end. And that will create the connection of the energy from your mind into the physical world, as well as give you the confidence to know you can achieve it, because it's first lived in the mind.
And what I heard you say, and I just want to spell it out to be sure I heard it right, and so everybody actually hears this, is that you go through the whole process. In other words, most people, when they do visualization, just go to the end result and it's kind of pushed off into the future. There's something they want and they just think there's the car I want or the house I want or the job I want or the money I want, and it's off in a distance, but there's no mental rehearsal of the process to get there. I think I heard you say you do go through the process. Is that correct?
Absolutely. With my experiences, let's say work or in martial arts or practicing techniques, I will go through, not into too much detail, but I go through the stages of what it takes and how does that feel. And it gets broken down into realistic categories versus, oh, I'm just visualizing this nice car I'm going to have. Oh, I'm going to have this nice big house. I mean, I don't know if that's great. That's a great starting point, but you want to put into place so it's believable for yourself as well. So it can make sense to yourself and give you the confidence to know, like, hey, I can do this. Point A to point B. And it takes patience. It takes patience. It takes dedication and confidence.
Yeah, I love how you're explaining this. When you describe it, how long is this actually taking? So when somebody lays down and they're going to go through the role rehearsal in their mind and visualize the process of going to get the car, going to get the job, how long does that actually last? Is it seconds? Is it minutes? How long?
I would say a good session of visualization would take about 20 minutes. So it doesn't need to take forever. But you want to have enough time to start with breathing. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Calm yourself. Know that it's okay to take time right now to do what you're doing. This is the most important thing that you should be doing right now. Don't worry about dinner later. Don't worry about what's happening tomorrow. We got to pack the bags. We got to, get moving. We got to put gas in the car. Think about here and now. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Bring yourself to a calm spot. Then start thinking about your goal. Think about the little things that you're going to do to reach that goal. And it shouldn't take long. It should take 20 minutes, I would say, for a good visualization exercise.
That's a beautiful description. So I'm trying to imagine what people would be thinking. And one thought or question would be, what if they don't know the steps? So in other words, if they do want to, I'm just going to make up something, but you could make up something too. What if they want to open up their own business? And now they're getting the confidence to do it. They're listening to you and they're going to face their fears, and they know that breathe and relax and be in the moment and be like water. But then they go to lay down and close their eyes and they're imagining opening the business and they're going, I don't know what all the steps are.
That's true. A lot of people don't know what the steps are. So in that sort of a situation, the most important step is to know what you want. A lot of times people don't know what they want. If you know what you want, that's half the battle. Then it's just a matter of spending that 20 minutes. First, identify what you want. Spend the rest of the time breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. That will allow you to be within yourself, be in the moment. And from there, the universe will know as well what you want. You're getting out of your way with the thoughts of dinner and what's tomorrow. You're putting the seed in your mind, and then you're getting out of the way.
Yeah. And I love it. I would agree with that. I wanted to explore something with you because I'm imagining people might have the question. When you say universe, what are you describing?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that, because for me, that is the description of energy. The way things move, the life force energy, the energy that connects humans, energy that connects nature. That energy is a perfect energy. And again, it comes back to the flow of water. So if you can imagine water, you be like water. So when you're doing your 20-minute visualization exercise, you don't need to know all the answers. You need to be in the moment and focus on your breathing. The energy inside yourself will calm. Your ability to manifest, if you believe in manifestation, will be increased because you're not thinking, if that makes sense.
I love that. You said if they believe in manifestation. So what do you say to the skeptics? What do you say to people that are like, oh, that's bull. Be like water, I'll just drown. Be like water, I'll go down the drain. What about the flippant skeptics that might be out there? Maybe there are people watching that they want to believe. A lot of people saw The Secret and then thought I tried it and it didn't work. Or a lot of people said, I don't know what I want, so how am I going to apply all these different secrets? How do you address the critics and the skeptics and the want to believe believers?
Well, what I would say and how I would address it would be, I'm not the type of person that's going to tell someone how to be or what to believe or this and that. But I would say that the most important thing I feel like in life, to live a good quality life with time for things that are important to you, because time is all we have. I would say to them to spend as much of their moments in their life doing positive things that make you feel good. So ultimately, we all want to feel good. It's not about, I'm manifesting this, I'm manifesting that. Sometimes we get caught up with all of that stuff. The ultimate thing is feel good and enjoy your life and be happy.
I'm smiling because I think that is so brilliant. Feel good, enjoy your life, be happy. I mean, done.
That's what it's all about, right? We only have so much time.
Yes.
And so ultimately, it's not about the fancy words or the, look what I manifested today with my visualization. It's identify what makes you feel good and make more time for that. Make more time for laughing, make more time for happiness. If it's not making you happy, get rid of it. And once we start to be happy, then things fall into place, and then it's just a natural, the law of attraction or whatever you want to call it, but it just, your life will improve. It takes incremental steps of improving, little daily things.
So you have learned well, and you are sharing what you've learned. You are consulting, coaching, training people. What is a story or two that has happened in your life or in some of your clients that might be impressive to us? Something where they manifested an experience that they didn't believe was possible, using martial arts, your techniques, the things that you've been sharing with us. And it could be from your life. It can be from anybody. I'm just curious, do you have this sit up and take notice kind of a story that we would all enjoy hearing?
Absolutely. One story that comes to mind is my Sifu, who is my Kung Fu teacher. We had a student at the school come in who had a very bad mountain climbing accident and became a quadriplegic in a wheelchair, couldn't move his arms or his legs. He would get he would come into the class every day for teaching, and he took private classes with my Sifu. He, through long-term training, a couple of years of training, has developed the confidence and the skills and the muscle ability to walk again.
Wow.
I know. So learning energy for him meant breaking past the barriers of what doctors had told him, what physicians had told him, what his friends were feeling sorry for him about. He didn't hear any of it. He enrolled in Kung Fu and started one-on-one training and started to develop muscle, energy, connection through believing in himself and the training that was involved from my Sifu. Wow. So that was amazing to see him, and I trained with him as well, and have seen all of this firsthand, and it just blows me away.
Oh, it's a spine-tingling kind of a story to hear. It gives me chills. And I always delight in hearing what's possible, because this show is called Zero Limits Living. And I say it's an exploration of what's possible. Do we actually have any limits? And in fact, I'll just throw that question at you. Do you feel we have any limits?
I believe the only limits we have are the ones that we bring upon ourselves, the ones that we think in our minds. And I actually don't believe we have any limits at all with that story I just shared. And other examples that happen in our lives. We are capable of anything we want, I believe.
Do you believe that people can get anything they want by themselves? Meaning, do they need to enroll in a Kung Fu class? Do they need to hire you? Do they need to get a mentor or a coach or a trainer or the right book? Or can they do it alone? I guess that's my question. Can they do it alone?
Absolutely. They can absolutely do it alone. A lot of times it's like the gym experience. There's all the equipment, there's dumbbells, there's the treadmill, there's machines, we don't even know what they're called. A lot of these things are distractions in life. Oh, if I just had that book, I could be that. If I just had that car, I would be cool. If I just had this exercise machine, I'm going to be so fit. Everything you have is everything you need. Everything you are right here, right now is what you need. Kung Fu is simply a metaphor for being inside yourself. You don't need to be at a Kung Fu school or even learn Kung Fu or have anything to do with it to have Kung Fu skills, if that makes sense. Everything we need, we have within us. And it starts again with breathing and connecting to yourself. Without our breath, we have nothing.
You have given an absolutely Buddha level answer. And I mean that very sincerely. I felt so warm and my heart opened, because when you said most of what we are looking for, think we need, are just distractions, that is absolutely brilliant. And most of us do get distracted by the next shiny object or the next promise of something that'll deliver what we think we've been longing for. And yeah, it does feel like, oh, if I only trained with Bruce Lee, or, oh, if I only had the Celestine Prophecy to go read, or, oh, if I only had the latest sports car. Yet, as you just pointed out, we can do what we need to do with what we have right where we're at.
Absolutely. Yep.
That is absolutely brilliant. I applaud you for that. I actually enjoyed hearing it. It was good for me to hear. The other question I want to ask you that I usually ask my guest is, knowing I was going to have this time with you, was there a question you were hoping I would ask? Was there something you're going, oh, I can't wait, I hope Dr. Joe asks this particular question because I'll get to say blah, blah, blah. Here's your chance.
Okay. Well, there is something that you could ask. You could ask me about the book I'm working on right now.
Oh, a book. See, now, the book freak in me just went on high alert. It's like, a book, you're writing a book. Tell me about your book.
Okay. Well, I know that you've written several books, and writing my first book, I know it's not easy. And so I applaud you for all the books and all the time you've spent providing knowledge for everyone. But with that said, my book is called Push Your Way Through. And it is bringing the fundamental ideas and concepts of Kung Fu into everyday life, learning to get what you want gently, but firmly.
I love it. I love it. How far along are you? Have you just started page 1, or you got a rough draft, or? No,
thankfully I'm not on page 1 anymore. And I would say I'm about 3/4 of the way through. We're just in the finalization zone of the book. And if your viewers want to learn more about the book, they can go to kungfukendra.com/Joe.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Well, congratulations on your book. And when it is done, I'm glad to read it, endorse, review, whatever, if you felt like sharing it with me. Because I like you, I like what you're doing. And I think what I was doing here in this interview was doing my best to extract some of the Kung Fu principles that we, not in Kung Fu, can use in our everyday lives. And if your book is actually doing that and accomplishing that goal in itself, I think that is great. That can help all of us with the insights and the wisdom that you have. You gave out that link, which I was going to ask you about anyway. So the link is kungfukendra, KENDRA.com//Joe, Joe. And there's a free subliminal ads workout video. Now, Kendra, I went there, I looked at the website, and it said, you don't have to actually work out. Yeah. I'm going to get abs without working out by watching your free subliminal video. What are we doing here? I'm trying to be like water, but I don't understand.
A part of this, part of my journey, I feel, is to help revolutionize fitness in the sense that we shouldn't have to work out so hard. There's a lot of things we can do in our mind to stay fit. So this subliminal abs audio is a short audio that you listen to for 21 nights in a row. And it has relaxing music, and then it's got subliminal programming within it to instruct you to do things with your abs, flex your abs, release your abs, flex. So you're doing the workout in your mind, and it will be affecting your body, mind over matter, matter over mind. It's that whole concept, bringing it into the fitness world.
I love it, and I support it. And I want to point out, for those who don't know, there have been scientific studies done where they had people actually work out and people do visualization, but not work out. And the people doing the visualization had just as much improvement as the people who actually worked out. So visualization as a new workout technique, hey, I'm all for it. I'm on my 70th year. I don't want to go and do some of the intense things I did before. So I'm gonna go to your website. I'm going to download that thing, kungfukendra.com/Joe, and I'm going to get 6-pack abs and just lay there and think about it.
That's right.
We're down to the wire. Is there a final comment, thought, story, insight? What do you want people to think about as we exit stage left?
What I want people to think about is that they are enough. You have everything you need inside of you. You have all the power you could ever desire inside of you. And I want to reiterate breathing. In through your nose, out through your mouth. You will have control. And you will be in control.
Very beautiful. I really thank you for agreeing to do the interview. You are very wise. You're very charming. You're very centered. You're very experienced. I cannot wait to see your book. You're going to be helping even more people. If somebody wants to work with you directly, is there another site to go to or an email or anything?
Absolutely. If you want to work directly with me, you can email us at office@kungfukendra.com.
office@kungfukendra.com. Well, Kung Fu Kendra, I love you. Thank you for doing this. You've made a great show and you've helped a whole lot of people. I really appreciate it. And everybody, this is Dr. Joe Vitale. You've been watching or listening to Zero Limits Living. Every week I bring you inspiration and information just like this last hour to help you in your life. All the shows are at ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com. Check out miraclescoaching.com. Check out my new book, unexpectedkindnessbook.com. Check out mentaltimetravelsystem.com. I want to thank Lux Media Studios for putting this on, Candace Barr for believing in me and giving me the opportunity, Chris and Nick running the engineering department for us. And I thank all of you. You're the ones we're doing this for. You're the light workers. You're the ones elevating the planet. I love you. Expect miracles.